Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing gambling in Thailand. The reason I thought of making this video, I was reading a recent article in the Pattaya Mail, that's pattayamail.com. Article is titled Pattaya Grapevine, the Chinese are back, and then under the subcategory or sort of subheading, Gambling with the Future, quote, there's certainly a rearguard action going on to oppose the establishment of legal casinos in Thailand, but the backwoodsmen and women will lose out. I don't know if it's backwoodsmen and women. Frankly, I just think there's folks that kind of enjoy sort of telling people what they can and can't do, maybe, and there's folks that don't. And also at the same time, I think the government is seeing that, maybe gambling could be a source of tax revenue, and it may be something to look into. Quoting further, a Thailand which is desperate to attract the wealthy has a very liberal marijuana policy and will soon legalize gay civil unions. Not a foregone conclusion. This is me talking. Not a foregone conclusion on that, although seems pretty likely. I think at least civil union will probably exist in roughly the next 12 to 18 months. Or even marriage, this is me quoting in, or even marriage, doesn't sound like the kind of place to block casinos. Attention in Pattaya is centered on where it might be located, likely out of town and not built yet. The casinos of the 2020s are luxury five-star developments with hotels, restaurants, malls, and lots of non-gambling entertainment. Well, as I've said in other videos, and as it looks like from the notion of gambling services, which was discussed in the context of the committee that's looked into the possibility of gaming in Thailand. Look, yeah, I get it that everybody thinks of Macau and Las Vegas, but, Las Vegas was built on sawdust joints, small operations that built up over time. And maybe Thailand doesn't necessarily want that model, and I can understand why they might not. But as I've discussed in many other videos, if Thailand is truly looking at gambling, they really need to be looking at the possibility of many different places having just a little bit of gambling license, to be able to provide a card game or maybe the odd slot machine or, some sort of digital, there could be some kind of digital keno that you could play in bars or something. If they're going to legalize it, I can understand why you'd want to have like big casinos, maybe one or two, but there is something seriously to be said for, lack of a better term, kind of spreading the wealth around a little bit and allowing smaller venues, small operations to maybe be able to provide some quote-unquote gambling services, which could be taxed. As noted in the other videos we've discussed, the excise tax department could be enlisted to go ahead and collect taxes associated with that. And I'm sure that would add to the overall revenue here in Thailand. And there's a lot of benefit. I think there would be a lot of benefit to allowing, again, smaller establishments to almost be able to use that gaming, those gaming services, if you will, as a kind of draw for otherwise bringing in customers to their place, create kind of a draw, an atmosphere where people want to. For example, one thing I remember seeing back in Kansas during the sort of poker boom was, and I've dealt poker in the past, and one thing that happened was, people would put on these poker tournaments. And generally, you couldn't win any money, you won prizes, but it drew people into bars and restaurants. People would have, these poker tournaments. They usually do it like once a week. Everybody would get together, come in, have this poker tournament, and it would kind of feed the bar. It would kind of feed the restaurant, in the sense that, if you could get, 20, 40 people into a place to play in a poker tournament, well, they got to have something to drink, and they may want something to eat. These are things to think about. This notion that it's all going to be sort of one monolithic, megalithic, huge casino compound, I get why people like that notion. And I do think that the main thrust of it probably should go in that direction, destination casinos, but also providing the option for folks a little lower down on the economic strata and being able to move that capital around a little bit. I think it's something that should be seriously considered.